Good morning and welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. Very glad to have you along with us on this Friday, November the 12th, as we continue our study of the book of Hebrews. And we are this week in Hebrews chapter 10, looking more closely at verses 11 through 25. This morning, I want us to focus on verse 25, and I will read verses 24 and 25 together. This is the writer of the book of Hebrews writing to an early Christian congregation, a Jewish congregation, the very early church, offering them encouragement through their faith in Jesus. So let's read Hebrews 10, verses 24 and 25. And let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So it seems that in writing this letter, the writer, who is obviously, I think, a leader in the early church, seems to be addressing a situation perhaps in which some early Christians have started to fall away or to not practice their faith, and so he's writing to encourage them to continue in the faith. And in verse 5, he emphasizes the importance of meeting together. I think we have seen over the last couple of years the very detrimental effects of people not meeting together, of not having opportunities to sit down with one another and to look in each other's faces and to hold hands, to hug. It's taken a terrible toll on both our elderly communities and on children who've been unable to attend school. And I think that it's a lesson that we've long known, but perhaps have forgotten, and one that the early church really understood and appreciated, and that is the importance of being together. Certainly, being online is a great option to have when you don't have other options, but it's a poor substitute for being present with a community. So I want to encourage all of us to do our best, even in the midst of this pandemic, that we do so with caution and care, but that we continue to strive to be present with one another, as encouraged here by the writer of the book of Hebrews. There's also a phrase here at the end, all the more encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Some may say, well, I'm not exactly elderly yet, and I'm not a child, and I get out now and then, and so I don't really feel like I need much more encouragement than that. Well, in that case, I would say if you're not in need of encouragement, you need to be the one encouraging then. So I want to encourage you to be present with others in order to encourage them and to lift them up. And then there's this phrase, all the more as you see the day approaching. This is obviously a reference to judgment. But as I've said before, it's important not to see this as some far off point in time, but rather that to see that your opportunity is now, and that we must live every moment as if the day of judgment is approaching just now. This is, I think, the emphasis that the writer wants to place upon us. That is, that encourage us to see that our lives are lived each moment of each day, and each of those moments are precious. And we need to use those to love one another, to participate and do good deeds, and to encourage one another. Let's close with this word of prayer from W.E. Orchard. O God, whose spirit searcheth all things, and whose love beareth all things, encourage us to draw near to thee in sincerity and in truth. Save us from a worship of the lips while our hearts are far away. Save us from the useless labor of attempting to conceal ourselves from thee, who searchest the heart. Enable us to lay aside all those cloaks and disguises which we wear in the light of day, and here to bear ourselves with all our weakness, disease, and sin, naked to thy sight. Make us strong enough to bear the vision of the truth, and to have done with all falsehood, pretense, and hypocrisy, so that we may see things as they are, and fear no more. Enable us to look upon the love which has borne with us and the heart that suffers for us. Help us to acknowledge our dependence on the purity that abides our uncleanness, the patience that forgives our faithlessness, the truth that forbears all our falsity and compromise. And may we have the grace of gratitude and the desire to dedicate ourselves to thee. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.